An adaptation is something that an animal does or has that lets it survive in a particular environment. So if you were to look at a picture of a camel, okay, where does a camel live? Who can tell me? Where does a camel live?
The camel lives in the desert.
Camel lives in the desert. Cool. Now, what is a desert environment like, Trixie?
It's basically very hot.
Yeah, it's very hot. And what else? It's very hot. There's a couple other things as well. Okay, think about it then. Lily, I saw your hand. What else about a desert? What else about the desert environment do you know?
It's really dry.
Yeah, it's really dry. There's not that much rain. Good job. Billy, what's something else?
There's sometimes some sandstorms.
There's sometimes some sandstorms. And what else? There's one more thing about a desert environment. None of you have mentioned yet. It's probably the most obvious thing about a desert environment. It's covered in what? Rosie.
The desert is covered in sand.
It's covered in sand. Okay, perfect. So let's take all those things. So a desert's hot. It's dry. There's not that much rain. There's lots of sandstorms, and it's covered in sand. So those four things are defining things about a desert environment. Now, what has a camel done? A camel has these adaptations. Go here, and here, and here. Okay, so I picked out those three places on a camel because they are three areas of specific adaptation for a camel. Now, I chose the eyes. What does a camel have to help it survive in this environment on its eyes? Billy, what's it have?
I have eyelashes that keep it from the sand that is blowing.
Exactly. Camels have really long eyelashes. What happens is the eyelashes keep a lot of sand out of the eyes, which means the camel can actually see during a sandstorm, which is pretty interesting, pretty good. I chose the humps. So who can tell me why a camel has got two big humps? Trixie?
It's because it needs to store fat in water for it to survive.
Yes, exactly. So inside a camel's hump, it has lots of fat stores, which it eats very, very slowly as it's going through the desert, and it also stores water. Last one I chose is its feet. Why does a camel have very large, flat feet? Cherry, why do you think a camel has very large, flat feet?
So that they can go in the sand?
Yeah, they can walk on the sand. Who's ever gone to the beach and put your fingers into the sand like this, right? When you put your fingers into the sand like that, it's very easy to go into the sand. But if you try to push the sand flat, no space between your fingers, you can't push through it. So the flatter the feet you have, the easier it is for you to walk. So there are three specific camel adaptations that are specific to its environment. Long eyelashes to keep sand out of its eyes, flat feet so it can actually walk on the sand, and it has stored water and fats so it can survive for long times in the heat and make sure it doesn't die. These are all adaptations for a camel. So who would like to talk about the animals they chose? Pumpkin, what animal did you choose to talk about in your home?
I chose shark.
A shark, okay. So what adaptations does a shark have to survive in its environment?
It eats fish.
It eats fish, okay, but how does it eat fish? Okay, so where do fish live? Fish live in the ocean, right? They live under the water. So what must a shark be able to do in order to catch fish? Billy?
It has pointy teeth and it has gills to breathe underwater.
Pointy teeth and gills to breathe underwater. Very good. Good job. And what else can a shark do that the other animals cannot do? Trixie, what else do they do?
They hunt.
Yeah, they hunt, but how do they hunt?
They smell their prey with the gills.
Yeah, so sharks have some of the best senses of smell. You think that living underneath the ocean, that's probably not the most important thing, but a shark actually has a fantastic sense of smell. It can smell one tiny drop of blood in 10,000 liters of water. Now, if you think about the amount of water in an ocean, the ability to smell even that much little blood in the ocean it's very impressive. Another thing about sharks is they are actually all cold-blooded as well. So if you think about an ocean, who's ever spent 4 to 5 hours underneath the water, you can't. You get too cold, your body's not able to regulate. Shark's body can regulate this temperature to make sure it doesn't freeze and it doesn't die. But these are all special adaptations for animals for their specific environments. Now, what I want to do very quickly is I want to make sure that you can understand the differences between what an environment, a habitat, and ecosystem are, because they're very, very close. They're quite similar, but I want to go through it very quickly. To quickly explain again to you, I want to go through this really quickly, and then we're going to do a quizzes, and then we'll have a quick video to finish off for the day. An ecosystem is a biological community. The animals and flowers interact with the physical environment. That means that anything that is alive within an environment is part of a community, okay? It's a part of a population of animals or living things, and they interact with the environment around them, okay? So if you were to think about the ecosystem as part of the living things within an environment, the non-living things also make up the environment. The living things are the ecosystem. When you add the non-living things, you create an environment. So who can give me an example of a living thing, please? Hacker. Lucy.
Tree.
A tree. Yes, very good. Okay, Kimmy, tell me what another living thing, please.
Animal.
Animal. Okay, now someone tell me a non-living thing. Lily.
Computer.
A computer. Okay. Let's think about in an environment though. Billy, what's a living thing in an environment? A non-living thing.
A non-living thing in an environment.
Yes.
A table inside the house.
A table inside a house. Okay. So examples of other non-living things in environments would be air, would be sunlight, would be water. Okay. If you were to think of as an ecosystem as all the stuff that's living interacting with all the stuff that's non-living. Okay, air, water, all of these things make it up. When you combine an ecosystem with the non-living things, then you get an environment. So ecosystem, all the things that are alive in an environment. Add the non-living things to the ecosystem environment. Place where living things live is a habitat. Okay, that's the difference. So an environment this is an area in which all living things and non-living things are existing and affecting each other. So as I said, ecosystem plus non-living things equals environment. And a habitat is a place where an organism lives. So something that is alive, this is where it lives. This habitat can be in an environment and can be where an ecosystem lives. But these are the main differences. So ecosystem is all living things in an environment. An environment is living things plus non-living things together. A habitat is the place where an organism lives. Okay, does that make sense? I really hope so. Let's try a quizzes. I'm actually quite happy with the overall accuracy. So what do earthworms, slugs, and mushrooms have to do with soil? So they all live in soil. Well, yeah, where does an earthworm live? Its name is earthworm. Worm is a worm that lives in the earth. Slugs also live in the soil. They eat leaves and decompose. Where do mushrooms come from? Mushrooms come from the ground. They come from soil. So what do they have to do with soil? Well, they all live in soil. Yes. They all help organisms decompose into soil. I'd say so. Earthworms go around soil. They probably go through and eat through their way through any types of dead animals. They're all a vital part of the ecosystem. Well, yeah. Any animal part of an ecosystem is a vital part of it, so it has to be all of the above. What other questions were quite difficult? Let's have a look. Who said no? Plants don't make their own food. So organisms use dead things as food matter. We use dead things as food matter. Humans do. If humans do, and we're an organism, that's going to be correct. All the energy that organisms get from food matter originally comes from sunlight. This is true. Every original part of energy will come from the sun in some way. Okay, we'll talk about more of that in a later unit, but it's quite good to know. The ecosystem is made of all living and non-living things. Yeah. Remember, the ecosystem is the living things interacting with the non-living things in the environment. It's the interacting, so it's the living and non-living things. The ecosystem is the living things interacting with that. The non-living things combined in total is the environment. That's the difference that I wanted you to understand, is that the living and non-living things make up the ecosystem. But when you have the environment and the changes that it can bring, that's the difference between the ecosystem, okay? Think about the water. A fish lives in water. Therefore, water needs to be part of that ecosystem for that fish to survive. But the fact that the water level can change and rise and go down, that's an environmental change, not a change in the ecosystem. We'll talk about this more and more as we're going through, but this is just some of the things I need to understand. Another word for animal home, habitat, good stuff. Choose and complete the logic food chain. So sun, plant, rabbit, eagle, deer, squirrel, plant, sun. So squirrels eat deer, plants eat squirrels, and the sun eats plants. Deers eat the sun, squirrels eat eagles. No. Remember, it's going left to right. What makes what? The sun makes plants, rabbit eats the plant, eagle eats the rabbit. That's the way to work those. Let's see, anything else? Oh, everyone knows where penguins live, which is good. Okay. Who thinks trees grow in the Arctic? Interacting with each other. Yeah, ecosystem, good job. Deserts, mountains, rivers are examples of ecosystems, good stuff. Good job. Okay, no major problems there, good stuff. So what I want to quickly explain is your homework. So I'm going to send you this video. Here is some adaptations of a frog that actually gives birth to its babies by spitting them out. It's pretty interesting, but also kind of weird. So for your homework, what I want you to do is choose an ecosystem to write about. Now, if you research it on the internet and you type in ecosystem, please let me know the link that you choose. Okay, so as I was saying, if you choose a link to talk about or to use when you are talking about an ecosystem, send me the link as well. I want to see it. Now, on one side, I want you to send a link. I want to see where you're researching. I want to see what you are looking at. And two, I want to make sure you're not copying. Okay, I want to make sure that you're using your own words and your own understandings. And I want you to write as much as you can about that ecosystem, the animals that live in it, where the animals live within that ecosystem, what makes that ecosystem so great, what makes that ecosystem better than other ecosystems. Okay, so choose an ecosystem to write about, send me the link, and write as much as you can.